Hi friends! Welcome to my channel. For those of you that are new here, my name is Katelyn and I like to film eyeshadow palette ranking and review videos as well as the other... What is it? Let's try that again. Hi friends! Welcome to my channel. For those of you that... Hi friends, welcome to my channel. For those of you that are new here, my name is Katelyn and I like to film eyeshadow palette ranking and review videos, as well as the occasional other content sprinkled in. So if you like indie makeup, if you like eyeshadow palettes, if you like me, I highly recommend that you hit that subscribe button because I post 2 videos every single week. And for those of you that are not new here, my face is happy that you are seeing it again. And I am excited for today's video. As you can see by the title, we are ranking all of the palettes that I used in the month of December. For those of you that are new here, that is exactly what it sounds like. Every single eyeshadow palette I used, new, old, new to me, old to me, anything I used in the month of December, we are ranking. I like to do my rankings this day so we can rack and stack the new palettes amongst palettes that I already had. I think it's a good reminder of, you know, did the new stuff really impress me compared to the things that I already owned? And yeah, so that's that. If you enjoy yourself at any point in this video, please give it a thumbs up and let's go ahead and get into it. I'm at an angle because this chair keeps turning. Let me see if I can... Ooh, hurt the belly. Okay, sorry dude. So, if you are new to my rankings, I like to rank my palettes into 4 categories. So, I don't count down for a couple of reasons. One, the order can shift. And honestly, I couldn't remember where I put some of these palettes, like what category they were in when I did my like year-end ranking. So you might be like, in the last like all year ranking, you put that palette as a holy grail and now it's just in the really light category, like what's happening? But anyways, that's the first reason, is I just feel like things change. We're more likely to stay in a similar category. But I do intentionally put the things in order as if it is a ranking. So I had a comment on my last ranking video where somebody said, I prefer like seeing people pick one palette over the other. And I still do that. It's just that I initially sort my palettes into the categories, and then within the categories will organize them top to bottom, or bottom to top, whatever. So anyway, so the last palette I'm talking about is my favorite palette of the month, just to clarify that. And the first palette I talk about is my least favorite palette that I used that month. So, okay. I think that's all of the agenda items. So I believe, if I can count correctly, we have 21 palettes that we are going over today. So let's start. First up is the Glamlight and Ghostface Lives palette. If you watched my collection and declutter video, you know that this palette is technically decluttered, but it's in a box of like I would like to declutter these, but I'm going to let them sit here and percolate on it for a little bit just to make sure I don't get rid of anything too soon. But this palette, I just felt like I have the Natasha Denona Xenon palette. I like that formula better. I feel like a lot of people had said that this palette had more variation, and so that's why I still picked it up even though I already had the Xenon. But when I did a look with Chilled Frost, Shadows Back, and Vengeful Spirit, the like 3 more like neutral looking shades, it still looked gray on me. So I don't think on like me and my skin tone it really looks that different than an all gray palette, which is what it looks like. Did I test out like either of these special shimmers? No, but I don't want to keep something in my collection just to force myself to try and use it. So that's my feeling on that one. So anyways, yeah, so, oh, I don't think I said which category this was. So most of you know the categories, I hope, but if you're new and you've never seen a video from me before, the first category are my meh palettes, meaning I look at them and I go, like literally that's my feeling about them. And typically those are palettes that I am either interested in decluttering, or if somebody like stole it from me, I probably wouldn't notice and probably wouldn't care. So yeah, there we go. Next up, we have the P. Louise Droplet of Magic. I do like the quality on this particular palette, and I I like the color story. My main issue with this palette is how annoying this freaking packaging is, how bulky it is, and that made me hesitate on buying it in the first place, and I should have just stuck to that. Like, that's why I had never tried the brand before. I just feel like their packaging's too bulky. But this color story, I thought it was so pretty, especially with the other palette in the collection. So in my collection and declutter video, I said that these palettes would go if I didn't have room. I currently barely have room for them, but I had a couple more palettes and these babies gotta go. So we'll see if I end up using them, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I really don't think I will, because I find the packaging and like the overall user experience of them to be so obnoxious. And I just know now bulky packaging is gonna make me too mad to use something, even if I think the quality is good. So that's where we're at. That's where we're at with that. Okay, oh, and I didn't mention, I got my makeup done today for my maternity shoot. If you follow me on TikTok, I had said I was going to do my own makeup for my maternity shoot, but then like Monday I panicked and was like, I cannot figure out how I want to do my makeup. Everything I've tried I haven't liked. So anyways, I went and got my makeup done. Somehow, like in the middle of the shoot, I somehow got mascara on my lid, and I'm not really sure how that happened, but anyways, just ignore that. I tried to fix it. It's not happening. It's stuck there. We're just gonna keep moving. But I really liked my makeup, so I was like, let me film this video at the same time. But anyways, okay, back to the ranking. Oh, the Ghost Face, I believe the Ghost Face palette was new to me for last month. Let me double check. I always like to mention, yes. So technically that was my first time reaching for the Ghost Face palette. I had it. I bought it not when it launched, but I bought it when the Friday the 13th collection launched. Anyways, so Ghost Face was new for December. There you go. Droplet of Magic was also new. That was my first time testing it in December. So already we're starting off with 2 new palettes that I just feel meh about. Not great. Next up is another new palette that I tried for the first time in December. And this is the Eyeshadow Cosmetics, the Artistry palette. It's the Artistry number 4 Elevate palette. So this is the colorful one. Honestly, I like the quality on this quite a bit. This bottom row, I forget what finish it is from them. They describe it on their site. I want to say it's not a satin. I think it's just like a normal metallic finish. It's nice and it blends into the crease. If you want to do an all shimmer look, it blends into the crease really nicely. You then have like the other types of finishes to add more sparkle over the top. What I will say is these iridescent ones up at the top were not quite as like toppery as I wanted. Here, let me show. So this is the purple one. This is not the one I used, but I just felt like it looks pretty on my hand. I don't know. I just like the look I did with it. I just didn't, I don't know. Maybe I need to try this more. I think this is going to be more of like a companion palette for me. 1, because it's an all shimmer palette, but 2, if I can get these iridescent toppers to like kind of work like how I have something in the inner corner here, I think they'd be really lovely for that because they do have a nice finish on them. It's just when I was just using this palette and only these shimmers, it didn't get me going as much as its neutral counterpart. So that's why this is in, did I tell you guys we were in the next category? We've moved on from Matte. I'm all over the place. We've moved on from Matte. This is now the first palette in the, I like this, but it's not, like I don't really like it, or I look at it and I just go, yeah, I like that. You know what I mean? Like it's like, yeah, it's nice. That's this category. So anyways, this is the first palette in the category. Not first place, but like first, we go bottom to top. Okay, anywho, another new palette, if we're counting Quads' palette, is the Petite 4 Praline. Don't know what this next word is. Épice? Praline Épice? Épice? No, there's no, like, Épice? I don't know. Anyways, this is the palette. It's like a neutral little quad. I honestly thought this was really, really pretty. I did a look with just this palette. Like I just used this. I actually added like eyeliner to like smoke it out because this doesn't get quite deep enough even if you're building on it on itself, which makes sense. It doesn't look like that deep of a shade. You can only make it go so dark without adding something else, but I really like how the look turned out. And for some reason, these little petit fours, if it's a neutral one, I just like love them. Like I don't know. I don't like quads, but these little, they're one, cute, but two, they're just easy to use. And like if I'm going for an all neutral look, I'm usually not trying to like think a whole bunch. You know what I mean? So anyways, maybe I should have put this in the really light category, but I did really enjoy this one when I played with it. I have only used it the one time, and I don't think I'm gonna get very many different looks out of it. You know what I mean? Like it's like one matte with 3 shimmers. There's only so many choices. Next up, we have the other new Petit Four from Viseart, and this is the Tyrian one. And I love this shade of purple, by the way. Oh my god, so stunning. Okay. Anyways, here's this little cutie here. I absolutely loved playing with this one. What I thought was interesting, and when I first swatched this, because I was going to skip the 2 Petit Fours because I was like, from the winter collection, because I was like, you never reach for quads. You haven't even used most of your Petit Fours more than one time. So like, what are we doing here? But then I saw this, and in pictures, I was like, that looks special to me. Like that looks interesting. So I bought it, and then later was like, oh, maybe I should have read like what the finishes are. So I've now started paying more attention to what the Viseart says the finishes of the different shades are. Anyways, this one is supposed to be a topper, and I feel like I swatched this in my video and it didn't like, doesn't show up on camera quite as much. This is the shade, what shade is this? I think it's Byzantine, but it's definitely a sparkly, like iridescent topper, and it just adds sparkle. Like I'm going to do an in-depth review of the whole Viseart winter collection, because I do think the Viseart is intentional where they like it feels like they release a lot, because they'll do the Petit Fours, they'll do a Petit Pro, they'll do the Étendu, like they'll just do like this whole thing, and you're like, why? Like that was like 7 palettes, and I'm like overwhelmed. But I think they're very intentional about like pairing things together, and the reason I think that is because they showed their winter collection with this one next to the Cashmere Charmeuse, and this one next to the, what is that other one? Violette Vespertine, and I want to pair these with those 2 palettes to see how they play with each other. But anyways, I will be doing like a full review of that collection with looks and everything, just to like give my overall thoughts, because I do think that was a really good collection. And I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like it needs its own standalone video moment. But anywho, as far as little quads go, I really liked both of these quite a bit. I have them in the light category, but I think that's because it feels wrong to put 2 quads in the really light category when like realistically I know myself and I know I'm not going to get like a ton of use out of them. So that's why I put them here. But anyways, next up in this category still, we have the Oden's Eye Christmas Eve palette. I of course use this on Christmas Eve. I put this one here. The shade Gorgeous could easily make this palette like a really love like palette. I think that shade is stunning. Anytime I've done a blue look with this palette, I've thought it was absolutely gorgeous. I went into this palette wanting to do a neutral look, and like a cool tone neutral look, I should say. And I was like these 2 mattes don't really go together. This doesn't really work with these 2. So it was just kind of confusing to me. I ended up having to pull in another neutral palette, which, by the way, I'm now realizing I don't think I ranked. I used this palette with something else. Oh, I know. Okay, hold on. I used that palette with another new to me palette, which is the Trixie and Juno Birch palette. I'm not sure. I would probably put this one in this category, but probably as the first one before the Isom one. It's an all matte color story, and I've only used it once, so I feel like it's like above meh, and I like it, but I haven't tested it out enough. But anyways, I just reached into the neutral shades to pair it with this palette so that I could use the cool tone shimmers in this palette. So anyways, really quick to like jump back and forth, talking about this one. I really like the packaging on this. I had never tried Trixie Cosmetics before, but I said F it, and I think they had like 30% off or something around the holidays, so I bought this one in the Horse Girl palette, and I had really wanted this when it launched, but just like skipped it. But anyways, the mattes blended really, really nicely. I did pair them with like a matte in the Christmas Eve palette, and I feel like they all blended together really well. The matte white in here is not quite as white as I would like it to be, but overall I enjoyed that palette. So sorry, we're at actually 22. But anyways, I can't believe I forgot that one. Next up we pretend we talked about the Trixie Cosmetics one, then the Esom, then the Viseart, and now we're back to this one. Anywho, so I like this one, but I just don't feel like the color story is quite as cohesive beyond doing like a blue look with like different pops than I thought it was. And then I realized when because I think I ranked this pretty highly last year when I first got it, I went back and looked at my looks and they were blue looks. So I was consistently using the shade blue and I really liked it, and they're very pretty blue shades, but I was like, I don't know that this gives as much variety as I thought it did. Next up, we have the Gourmand Girls, and we're in the new category. Sorry. We're in the new category. These are palettes that I really love. So from this point forward, there is not a single bad palette. And let me tell you, ranking these was so freaking hard because I like all of these. And like half of these in the really love category, I'm like, but maybe you are a holy grail. I don't know. So this was so difficult for me. But anyways, first up, we have the Gourmand Girls and Doodles by the Bunny Nightshade palette. I really, really love the shimmers in this palette. I think they are gorgeous. The mattes are great too. Really good quality as far as like blendability and pigmentation and things. The reason I put this one not as a holy grail is because I struggle with this color story. It's really hard for me, and I love purples and I love greens. But I think the inclusion of like two really dark shimmers and like the smoky side of this just throws me off. But yeah, I do really like it though. So that's why it is here. Next up is another new palette for the month of December. This is the Glam Light and Friday the 13th Camp Crystal Lake palette. I really loved the look I did with this palette. I used these purples and then I put the greens on the lower lash line. And oh my gosh, the like murky tones that it gave were so freaking pretty. I loved it a lot. I really want to dip back into this palette. I think there are, because these, the silver and the purple are really like lighter shimmers, I feel like there's more variety to this palette, or more versatility to this palette than there is the other horror collections that stayed pretty either truly mid-tone to dark, or this one stays matte-wise mid-tone, but they blend out okay. But those palettes, like even shimmer-wise, where there was nothing light enough for how I like to do my makeup. So anyways, I really, really do love this one. I feel bad because we're like in the middle of this ranking, but like I really like a lot of these palettes. Next up is a palette that is new to me. This is the Viseart Rose Edit. Listen, if I get out of collection and declutter season without buying palettes that are discontinued off of Poshmark, it would be like a miracle. It's never happened. So I bought some discontinued palettes from Viseart because I really wanted to finish off my collection, and I was watching, I believe it was Morgan Turner's video, and she had some of these Viseart palettes, and I was like, I'm gonna try and find those. So anyways, this is the Rose Edit. It's not available anymore. It is new to me, but that's because I bought it secondhand, so I don't have the box anymore. But this is what it looks like, and oh my god, it's so stunning. They should bring this back. Viseart, you should bring this back. This is a really gorgeous color story. The mattes in here are so good. The shimmers are nice. Like, oh, I just loved this. Next up, we have the Blend Bunny Cosmetics Sugar and Grunge palette. I believe in past ranking videos, like in like monthly ones, I've talked about how I didn't really know what to do with this color story, but listen, things clicked in December and I really like this now. Obviously I think it leans a little bit more towards like springtime colors, and not that you have to wear your makeup based on the seasons, but for me, I tend to wear like certain clothing colors based on the seasons, and I like my makeup to match my clothes. So I'm less inclined to reach for like springy colors because I'm not wearing springy colors. But anyways, I really like this palette. I think it's fun. Now that I've things have clicked, we're moving and grooving together. This is a really good one. I feel like Blend Bunny palettes always have really good quality. It's just a matter of if you like the color story or not. Next up is the Merry Christmas palette from Oden's Eye. Really, really love this one. This shade Elf Wish is gorgeous. That's not actually what I used. I did a neutral look with this palette using the shade Snowman. And did I use Little Star? I don't remember. I know I reached into it for Snowman, and that is also a beautiful oh no, you know what? I did the red mattes, and I think I just had Snowman. I don't think I added, maybe. I don't remember. Anyways, it doesn't matter. You guys don't care. But I really, really liked how this look turned out. Used it on Christmas, of course. I do want to try and reach for this palette a little bit more outside of just Christmas and Christmas Eve. Both palettes, I should say, because I do like the quality on them, and I think there's really interesting shimmer shades in here that I would like to pair with other things. This palette is higher than its Christmas Eve counterpart because I do think you can get like an all green look, or you can go with the neutral look here, or you could add in this red to make it like a red crease. Like, I just feel like there's a bit more versatility in here, and it's an easier, more intuitive color story. Or, yeah, intuitive color story? I don't know. Anyways. Next up, we have Doodles by the Bunny and Gourmand Girls Haunted. This palette is absolutely gorgeous, stunning, amazing, and I debated putting it as a holy grail, but it's not quite there because there's like a couple of changes I would make on the matte color story to make it like truly holy grail, but it is close. These shimmers, every single one of them, chef's kiss, gorgeous, perfect, stunning, amazing. I absolutely love this one. Next up, we have the Blend Bunny Machina palette, and this is one that I couldn't remember in the year end if I put this in holy grails or not. If I did, I should probably have put it back there, but I really felt like I didn't, and then I didn't want to just immediately jump to adding it to holy grails just because I'm in a good mood right now. But anyways, I really like this palette. I know people complained that it was like a weird color story, but when I read one of their Instagram captions where they said this is like the human side and this is like the machine side, and it's supposed to like have the appearance of like a glitch or whatever, I just thought it was really, really a cool idea, and I totally see that, and I really like the tones of this. Yeah, and I had a blast playing with it. I have a 3 looks video with this palette if you're looking for color inspiration, or even if you didn't pick this palette up and don't want to, if you just want like bright, colorful look inspiration, that's the video for that, because I feel like I did 3 really color intensive looks. So anyways, next up is the Simply Posh Cosmetics Aurora Lights palette. I was gifted this palette in PR, and I did do a 2 looks video with it. I have videos with a lot of the palettes in here. Just search the palette name on my channel and you should find something, or you won't find anything and it means I don't have a video. This is a monthly ranking, so I will link any videos I have in the description box. So if you want to check any of these out once this video is over, head to my description box. I'll link any videos that feature the palettes down there. But what I was saying, so this palette I was gifted in PR. I really love it. I think it's so gorgeous, such a beautiful color story, so fun to play with. Definitely puts me out of the box a little bit, like out of my comfort zone, trying to think of like different like looks and color stories. Absolutely stunning. Another one I debated putting in the Holy Grail status, but it's just not, it's not quite there for me yet. I do want to play around with this a bit more, but I really liked this one a lot. And I said that was new for the month of December, correct? We have another new palette for the month of December. This is the Adept Cosmetics Element 115 palette. If you are new here, I love space. Anything space themed, I love. I have a Star Trek tattoo. I can't show you because I have sleeves. Like sleeves on, not like tattoo sleeve, but not that there's anything wrong with that. I just don't have one. Anyways, love space. So there we go. Love this color story. I thought the mattes in this were really nice, and normally I have a bone to pick with the Adept mattes and just like gush about how good the shimmers are. I thought the mattes in here were good. Reminded me of the quality of the Sumerian Sunset palette. I feel like those mattes were really nice as well. So I think Adept definitely has a nice matte formula, in at least their most recent launches that I've tried. I paired Gimbal Video and Weather Balloon with neutral mattes, and I loved that color, like the way that look turned out. And then I did do a look using some of the colorful mattes and then also trying this striped shade. And there is a bit of a learning curve when you're playing with these. I'll be honest, they're not like the easiest things to use. You have to like get it on your finger and then like think about how you want it to sit on your eye. But I really did like those a lot. I thought those were going to make this like kind of an unusable palette for me, but I really like it. I haven't played with these two shimmers yet. They do look like they're going to be maybe a little bit similar to each other. One's warm and one's cool, so maybe they won't be that similar. But I think this is really pretty. Is it as, like, is every single shade as shifty as their palettes normally are? No, but I also think this was a better price point. And I feel like a lot of people have said in videos lately or in content that I've seen that they don't want every shade to be a multi-chrome or a duochrome, that they want some normal shimmers. And I think you have that. You have a mix of like special shades in here with some straight up normal, like straight up shimmers. And I really like that. And I feel like maybe a couple of those are holochromes. I'm not sure. I would have to double check their site, but really, really like that palette. Okay, last palette for the really like, really love, however you want to say that. I feel like for palettes, it's the same thing, for me at least. But last one, we have the Doodles by the Bunny and Gourmand Girls Silent Night palette. I have only used this palette one time. That is the only reason it's not in the Holy Grail. I would have put this in the Holy Grail category if I had used it more than once and still liked it as much as I do, because I freaking love this. The neutrals mattes in here blended, I cannot tell you how well they blended. They blended so, so, so good. This duochrome piece, one of my favorite shades in my collection, the iridescent duochrome, like white shimmer down here, Frosty, absolutely stunning, amazing, gorgeous. Oh, so beautiful. So I will be playing with this again soon. And don't be surprised if you see this, you know, jump up into Holy Grail territory, because I cannot say enough good things about this. I really, really like this one. Okay, last category is the Holy Grail palettes. And, you know, I'm going to be honest with you guys. We lean a little bit more neutral than we typically do. And I don't know if it's because I'm entering a neutral era. I don't know if it's because I was trying to do more and more neutral looks as I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do for my makeup for my maternity shoot, which I didn't even end up doing my own makeup. Anywho, I'm just warning you, we're going to see some neutral palettes. So in the category of, and there's actually exactly 5. So this is my top 5 of the ranking, but of all the palettes I used in the month of December, but also I would count all of these as Holy Grail favorites. So first up, we have the Cosmetics, the Artistry #1 Balance eyeshadow palette. I think the mattes in this palette it's an all matte palette, so I think the matte formula that this palette has is really nice. I enjoy it. You can kind of see it's a little bit messy, so you get a little bit of kick up, but I always do my eyes first, so it's hard for me to like give a good viewpoint of like fallout and things like that, but I don't remember having like a ton of fallout with this one. I also don't remember if this white was like groundbreaking. It looks pretty white. Yeah, that's a pretty solid white. Is it my best white? No, I think I have a white that's a little bit more pigmented than that, but that's a pretty decent white. At least based on the swatch. And yeah, there was quite a bit of kick up. So they're a little bit softer pressed, but you have a true like neutral brown. You have like a really warm orange. You have like a warm brown column. Cool. Oh, I would say cool brown, very warm orange brown, neutral brown, like cool tone gray, and purple for the columns. And I just think that it's really easy and user friendly, and you can get pretty much whatever matte color story you want out of this. This is a very expensive palette, so just know that. But they do have good sales, at least for Black Friday. They had an awesome sale, and I heard that they do pretty solid sales. I don't know if it's year-round or if it's like twice a year, but if you're thinking about Cosmetics, I'm just going to say wait for a sale, and particularly around Black Friday. Unless you're like, I cannot live with that. Then I don't think you'll be disappointed if you really need that color story in your life. Next up is the Il Makiage and Kathleen Light's Disco Fox palette. I don't think this palette is available anymore, so I'll try not to wax on too poetically about it, but it's still one of my favorite neutral palettes. And I really like the Il Makiage like packaging. Like I like you know, how it's kind of like this part you can hold on to, and then this closes. They have a nice matte formula, nice shimmer formula. I would love to see them do more palettes like this, whether it's neutral or not. I think they do a lot of quads or like smaller palettes, and that's not my jam, but I really like the formula. Next up, we have the Posh Cosmetics Artistry No. 2 Intensity palette. So this is the all neutral shimmer palette, and the reason I like this one more than the colorful one is because these mattes, I want to say they called it like a chromatic finish. They're more sparkly, more metallic, like really just insane looking on the eye. And then you have the satin shades here. So this is like a perfect inner corner palette if you don't have an inner corner shade. And I just really like the finishes. And then I think these bottom ones are metallics again, similar to what I was talking about in the other one where you can blend these into the crease. But it's so easy to do an all shimmer look with this palette, or to pair this palette with its all matte counterpart. But anyways, super easy to use. Really like this one. This one's even more expensive, and I don't know that I would ever be able to justify spending full price on this. As much as I love it, I just don't think I could do it. So it is in my holy grail, but I did get it at a significant discount. So I want to be honest, fully transparent, you know? Next up, we have, I think this is the last palette that was new for the month of December. And this is the Melt and Bailey Sarian collab, the Fatally Yours palette. I'm obsessed with this color story. I want to continue to reach for this palette. Like, I think it is so beautiful and grungy and gorgeous, and my only issue is that these two shades, I think on my skin tone and my eye, are more similar to each other than they look in pan. But overall, man, I really like this color story. I think it's fun. I think it will combine well with some like of my all shimmer palettes. Like, I just really like it. Okay, so last palette is not like new for the month of December, but it's relatively new, and I was gifted this one in PR as well. This is the Cozy Cabin Holiday Palette from Simply Posh. They launched this one, I want to say November. Was November when I tried it first? Yes. I tried this at the beginning of November for the first time, and since then, it has sat on my vanity, and whenever I didn't have time or didn't want to think about a look or just, you know, didn't want to like make a decision, I've gone for this palette, and I've kind of stuck to this side because it's like a more like neutrally side, and I've just been doing looks like over here. And I really like it. I need to play in the cool tone more section of it, but I just felt like I had to put this palette at the top because I continue to reach for this. Now, I reached for it a lot in November. For the month of December, it was not one of my most used palettes. So we have my most used palette for the month of December was the Blend Bunny Cosmetics Machina palette. I reached for this one the most in the month. After that, there's a tie for second place with these ones. So we have the Viseart Petit Four and Tyrian, the Haunted palette from Gourmand Girls and Doodles by the Bunny, the Element 115 from Adept, the Melt Fatally Yours, and then Simply Posh Aurora Lights. So like in the month of December, this was not my most used, but it was still sitting on my vanity and I did reach for it. You know, and I guess I still have feelings carrying over from November. But anywho, those are all the palettes that I used in the month of December. Let me know what your most favorite, I don't know. Let me know what your favorite palette was that you used in the month of December, or just like what your current favorite is. I love hearing your thoughts on any of the palettes that I talked about, or what you're enjoying or not enjoying in your collection as well. I just love chatting with all of you in the comments down below. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you all next time. Bye!